Hello, everyone. Welcome to our nightmare. Step right in. The water is warm. We are here.
It's fucking freezing.
After Liverpool lost the game of football again, just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water. No. The Reds lose again. This time to Manchester City, and this time rather comprehensively at the Etihad, when we were looking at it going, can we get to the international break with an overriding sense of positivity out of the week? You know, even if it's just a draw, you could say, well, there you go, 2 wins and a draw in 8 days, and that's a good way to get a foothold back in the season. No. If you're watching, I am interested to know people's thoughts on this. Have you got a wider sort of overview of it? Do you see a way forward for this, or are you right back to being in the depth of ill feeling like we were again? 10 days ago or whatever. Chris is with me. We are ranking Liverpool's players, except we're not. We're just going to read through them because the floating head at the board is Chris Pajak, ladies and gentlemen. There is not a single player in the rankings who has gotten above decent. And Chris, understandable?
Yeah, I think I would have given most of them a decent as well, maybe a sound or two, and I'm not sure I would have given a messing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have given a messing, Paul, to be honest with you. My problem is that the team didn't perform together. Mm-hmm. I don't think there was particularly good performances. I don't think there was particularly bad performance, but as a team, we were beaten comprehensively.
Yeah, and I think it's worth having a little chat around that. We will go through all of the rankings because obviously people have cast the vote, so we will fulfil the mandate of this show in a little bit. But let's have a little conversation around it before we do, because look, football is increasingly moving towards the analytical. It is, but it is a game of emotions, and it now seemingly is totally irrelevant that we managed to beat Aston Villa and beat Real Madrid because we've now just lost to Manchester City, and that's fair in its own way, but I don't know, it's tough, isn't it, because we're going to be right back to the reactionary again. And you've seen it already in comments of huge overreactions to things, and I think, look, we can all fairly say, as if we didn't really know it, it's we're talking the realms of science fiction if you think Liverpool are going to win the league this season. But it is a question now of, how long is it going to take Slot and this team to get to a level of consistency? And what does a level of consistency look like for a team that is really only aiming for third at best?
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, right? But the reason that I'm still very much in the reactionary camp this week is because I think, for me, this is the week that I truly believe that we can't win the league, and that's painful. I still thought we could win the league up until we get beaten today by Man City, because I felt like, we'd turned the corner and we could do better, and I don't think we were ever near the finished article. I remember saying, last week or the week before, 2 to 3 months I think it's going to take Slot to get there, but I just didn't know that everybody else was that much better than us, even though I didn't think we were anywhere near as good as we were. Now though, overhauling an 8-point gap to Arsenal, even just a 4-point gap to Manchester City feels incredibly difficult. But the worst thing is getting stuck in that mire of shit teams that struggle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th, because we're sat in 8th now. Mm-hmm. We've played 11 games, we've won 6 of them.
Yeah.
We've lost 5. We're right now, we're +1 goal difference. We laughed all season long at Manchester United last season for +1, level, -1, +1, level, -1 all season long. And we're in that. It's a coin flip every week, how many goals we can score, how many goals we concede, and whether we get 3 points or not. It's not a coin flip for draws, because that's not the type of team that we are this season. It is just about wins and losses, and right now the losses are catching up to the wins. And that's nowhere near good enough when you start as strongly as we have.
Yeah.
It's just poor. It's poor across the board. That today is nowhere near good enough. It's just not.
Yeah, and look, this is the problem with it is that we lose to Man City all the time, and we have done loads and loads of times, particularly Pep Guardiola's Man City. We don't win at the Etihad very often. And I agree, it is poor. But actually, my issue is more with this. And again, it goes back to, I think, people's expectations of it. We're all guilty of it because we do this. It's like everything was the worst it could possibly be a week ago or 8-9 days ago. And then we're back to, we can win the league. We're idiots. I don't know why we do it to ourselves because, again, I think it was stupid of us to let ourselves get carried away because it's quite clear that there are issues that this team are working through. But we, instead of just finding a way through and finding a reasonable level while Liverpool adjust, I don't know, I feel like we're a bit guilty of letting ourselves get too excited because ultimately, we've done this when we've had bad seasons in the past, Chris. If you're going to the Etihad expecting a win from Liverpool, then more often than not, you're going to be disappointed. Now, I know the obvious caveat to this, all we're really looking for and where my disappointment from today comes from is I don't think we did enough to make it competitive. And that was where the question is, and people can answer at home, is that tactical? Is it selection? Is it the individual performances of the players again? Because I can't quite divine that. I put it a little bit to the freshness side of things.
Yeah, I think
because we didn't look enough.
There's a part of that. Absolutely, I think you're spot on. I think there is a part of freshness. I think Slot, has been backed into a corner selection-wise, to be honest. A corner that he's kind of got himself into, but backed in nonetheless. But I think there's a big part of system that we're still struggling with, and how we play football. I think, that's part and parcel of it. And there's a big part that the opponent was absolutely brilliant today. Yeah. That's a major, major hurdle that we never got over today, is there? Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things that seem to be wrong, but, was the application there? Did we really fly into everything today and try and level the playing field with effort? No, I don't think we did. And, sometimes you can't be as good as the opposition, but you can work just as hard as them. You can work harder than them. It never felt like we really did that today either. Yeah. And the biggest part of today, I felt the problem was, I felt like Pep understood what Slot wanted Liverpool to do and was very, standoffish with it. You can try that, but we know what's going to work. The idea that Mo Salah wasn't really tracking back today, well, it's cool. We're going to leave Doku high and wide and we're going to get him one-on-ones. Equally, we're going to have bodies around Salah when he's got the football and not make it easy for those one-on-ones. So I felt they did well there. I think they understood what they wanted to do with Florian Wirtz as well. And that was a problem for us. He couldn't really get on the ball and stuff like that. And when he did in those one-on-one battles wide, I thought Nunes did pretty good against him.
Yeah, and also, we have to mention all this because we sit here saying, it was tough in Liverpool. Didn't have a great game and all that remains true, but it is also incredibly frustrating when, and this happens with
better.
Well, no, but not the other team being better, but City deserve to beat us, but also Liverpool have a mountain to climb, and I'm appreciative of the fact how difficult it is to climb a mountain when you're climbing a mountain of luck as well as actual skill and ability, and that's the thing that I think Liverpool are probably in some phases good enough to win a game in certain environments, and we've shown that this week. But they feel like a team that needs a lot of things going right for them to help aid with those things. I thought the referees were appalling, both in the VAR and on the pitch as well, which doesn't help because we'll never know. I mean, based on how the game kind of panned out, City might have just gone, if our goals allowed, Van Dijk's goals allowed, based on what we saw in the rest of the game, City might have just gone on and won that 3-1. But it felt as though we'd managed to get ourselves back into the game. We've managed to change the possession around a little bit. And yeah, I don't think we're strong enough to deal with adversity at the moment, as well as then dealing with the City side, who were really good.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. And I think the referees made a bit of a joke of the game. I'm still... Look, I'd be pulling my hair out if I had enough to pull out. I don't. But I really do want to pull my hair out about that Robertson one and, why that's not given. The penalty, I know it doesn't amount to a goal, but my word, that is not a penalty in football. In men's football, that's not a penalty. It's not a penalty in under 11s football. It's not a penalty in men's football. It's if we are saying touching someone is a penalty, then we're all fucked because the games are going to be 400,000 hours long because there's loads of contact in the penalty box all of the bloody time. You'd give 19 penalties on corners away before the ball's been kicked in. If touching someone is a penalty, it's not a penalty. And Mamardashvili does really well to save that ball. But, like, what are we doing? What are we doing if we're giving pens for that?
Yeah, the refs are crap. And that's what I mean, is that Liverpool aren't good enough right now to play against a really good side and then incompetent refereeing. And that's where I feel genuinely, you know, sort of as aggrieved about anything. But what you want to see is still more. And it goes back to that sense of, I think there's something, whether it is down to the fact that we've just not rotated enough now in the last few weeks, and that is always that's the trade-off. There's a reason why he's trying to refresh the squad. There's why you can't win by going too far one way or the other. He's obviously tried to make changes, tried to refresh things, and then he's kind of gone back to type and brought some of the older lads back in, and then he's liked them, and now we're lacking legs in the team as a result. We don't feel like that team anymore. It feels like another step away. When it's not working, we do feel miles off the Klopp. The DNA of a Klopp Liverpool side. One thing I said on my individual match reaction, Chris, is you only notice it when players who are cut from that cloth come onto the pitch, and that player is Federico Chiesa. It's so noticeable when he comes on how much the other players don't have that in the tank.
It really is, actually, yeah. I think he'd have loved playing under Jurgen Klopp, and Jurgen Klopp would have loved Federico Chiesa, but Jurgen Klopp's not our manager anymore. Arne Slot is, and Arne Slot may want us to press like that. He may not. I don't know whether he does or he doesn't. I think Liverpool look a better football inside when we do press high. I think it fits in naturally to what we want as Liverpool fans. I think it makes a better atmosphere at the ground, which then leads on to good things for Liverpool. I think it's a more exciting brand of football to watch, the high press, and it gets you off the edge of your seat. Like that wasn't there for us today very early on. Manchester City, the way they passed it round the back, they looked supremely confident that any type of press wasn't really going to work. And you know, you mentioned it during comms, Paul Bernardo Silva dropping deep and just making the press look silly was something that we didn't see at Anfield on Tuesday when we played Real Madrid.
Yes. So yeah, not great for Liverpool in a row. Right, and says it does feel, yeah, like you've kind of taken a couple of steps back, and it goes back to it. It's 3-0. It's not even close to being the draw that you need to go and get from that game ultimately. And I get it. You know, this is the thing when you go 2 goals down and the referees have kind of screwed you over in a number of ways, and you've had a bit of luck with deflections for both goals. It's an almost impossible ask to turn around a 2-goal deficit against Manchester City in their own ground, which was the most frustrating thing, where you were left with a huge swathe of the game where it was effectively game over. And Liverpool, even when City took their foot off, were okay, but still not enough really to change the tide of the game enough to keep us, to have a City in and be able to go to bat for them in any deeper sense. Look, it is player rankings. That is this show. If you've been with us on YouTube and you want to stick with us to see just how poorly this went and goes for all of the players who were involved in the game today, then please do. Thank you for everyone, of course, who subscribes to Redmen Plus. You guys are the absolute business through the thick and thin of being a Liverpool fan.
Do you know they might be with us through the thick and thin of being a Liverpool fan, Paul, but they don't have to sit through the raft of adverts that YouTube throw in nowadays because they get all the adverts taken out of redmenplus.com.
Absolutely. Ad-free, and we're here for yous. And us, because we need this. We need to talk this out.
That was a clip from the Player Ranking Show. If you'd like to check out the show in full in either video or podcast form, simply head to redmenplus.com.